Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another live edition of Queen Bee. Yes, this is the April edition of Queen Bee. Y'all, if this is your first time tuning in, you are about to have the evening you have never had before. We love to have fun while we are sharing information. Queen Bee is an initiative brought to you by She's Ready and Selma Air and the Monte Methods. Queen Bee was founded by none other than the man himself, Monte Hammond. Listen. So my name is Lydia Chapman. I'm going to toss it over to Monte and all the other guests that we have. We have our co-host, Kim Moon in the building, Miss Lachresha Kennell in the building, Miss Cece, my new mommy, y'all. We are about to have, yes, we about to have some fun. Monte, come on, talk about the ATL traffic for us one time.
Listen, this traffic, it ain't Johnny Taylor, but it's giving me the blues, baby. This traffic is giving me the blues. But yeah, y'all, we just want to welcome y'all to Queen Bee. Sorry if I'm not looking at this camera. I don't want to run into another car and run up my insurance.
That part.
So, but yeah, we want to welcome each and every one of you to Queen Bee Live. We have an amazing topic on tonight, talking about youth and HIV, and just trying to make parents comfortable with talking to their teens about sexual health, and the things that involve them. Because if you don't teach them, the school will, the world will, their friends will. And so we just want to, make it comfortable for you to be able to talk to your teens about, or your children about things that they may encounter along life. And so one thing we want you all to do is like, tag, and share. Tell somebody, tell a friend, tell your neighbor, your coworker, your sister, your brother that we are live, and let them join. It's free range for questions. This is an unfiltered conversation, and so we just want you all to join in and just be open with us, and we'll be open with you. And from here, I'm gonna pass it on to my girl Kim.
Hello, everybody. It is great to see y'all. And even though Lydia called me out because I got my hair combed and put some clothes on today, she told me I must feel better. I was like, no, I don't really, but I was not gonna get back on this podcast again, looking like Aunt your mama or somebody. I tried. But welcome. I am glad to be here and I am glad to share. I am glad to have our new mommy. Well, both of y'all mommies, though, right? Both of y'all.
But she brand new.
Yeah, she ain't really new, but both of y'all moms. So I'm glad to have both of you all here to share with us. And like Monte said, if you have questions, bring them. We want to answer them for you. And y'all, we relax. We have a good time. I am a Christian, but I might say a cuss word every now and then. I try not to, but sometimes it happens. I be trying to stay, But thank you all for joining us. And as Monte said, share, like, and invite your friends and family, whoever it is, girls, boys, whoever, because everybody needs some education, and everybody, all the youth, definitely needs some education.
Lachresha, welcome to your very first episode of Queen Bee.
Yay!
So would you like to introduce yourself and your organization, y'all? She's all about women being well.
Hey everybody, I am Lachresha Kennell, and I am the founder of Well Woman Recover. It is a non-profit organization that gives services such as counseling and also life coaching. And it's kind of like, it's faith-based. However, like she said, I'm faith-based. However, I do believe that even though we live in a world, we need to be able to be communicative. It needs to be both ways. Whatever I can get inside the church, I need to be getting whatever I can get in the world. I need to be able to get in the church, whether that's sex, finance, counseling, nitty gritty, whatever it is in the world, you need to be able to teach me in church. So I am that type of person. Whatever your faith is, I'm Christian, of course. However, that's not everybody's, faith. So we go out on whatever your faith is. And we talk about real deal things. I mean, from molestation to divorce, sexual abuse, all types of things that I counsel and coach women for to get back to them and that they can recover. So it's Well Woman Recover. It's kind of like the woman at the well, you know. Girl, I
Yeah.
did all of that, but baby, I can recover. When I recover, you you ain't gonna wanna you gonna wish you still had dealt with me. So
Yeah.
recover from anything as women, especially
Oh,
when we can recover from anything. Can't we, y'all?
That's what we
yes.
do.
Yes.
That's what
And
we
Lydia, so
CC.
All
I'm
right.
gonna
Well,
log
hello.
off really quick and go to my computer.
You
Okay.
made it. You made it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll be right back.
Go ahead, CC.
So, hello, everyone. Thank y'all so much for having me here. I am Sierra CC Coven. I am the program manager for an organization called the Well Project, which is an organization that serves women who are living with HIV and women who are vulnerable to HIV. I run our programming right now. One of our big efforts is breastfeeding and HIV. So one of my programs there is BIBA, Building Equity, Ethics, and Education on Breastfeeding and HIV, as well as A Girl Like Me Live. That's my other baby. We go live once a month, and we talk about women's wellness issues with different people from the community. We just had an episode on criminalization and HIV in women. So that was really, really awesome. I love serving the people, and I'm so glad to be here with y'all.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we are grateful for both of you ladies. I am extremely grateful for Kim being well. Listen, because she is healing, for Lachresha helping us as women be well, to you, Cece, for helping us as women be well and make when we feel well, when we look well, we make choices that help us to continue that wellness. So, um, tonight we are going to talk about, as Monte shared, we want to equip people, we want to equip parents with some information related to how to, when to, and why it's even important to talk to our young people about HIV. And when should we do that? Do we start at very small ages? How do we introduce that information? And so tonight, y'all, again, if you're tuned in, watching live now, if you're watching the rebroadcast at some point, like, tag, and share this video, because if you are not a parent, there's a parent in your life who may need this information.
Right.
It is really, really important that we start to share the facts about HIV that helps us, right, to break down the stigma connected to HIV. It helps us to live better, to live well, when we can love on each other despite whatever diagnosis we may have. Because imagine if people treated you bad for having sugar, for having diabetes.
I know, right?
Listen,
High blood pressure. And
listen.
sugars is the one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, y'all, there's a lot to consider, some great information that we want to share. And so we're going to dive right on into the questions. And if you have any questions as you're tuned in live, please feel free to drop them in the comment box. We invite you to share your questions, to ask your questions, and to comment, because this is an interactive show. So when we consider the impact of sex, y'all, and sex has an impact on our lives, whether we like it or not, even as adults, right? Why do you think so many of us tend to wait until there are challenges before we really start to have the real serious talks with the young people in our lives? Why are we waiting?
I think we wait because, I mean, in the Black community, sex is taboo. Nobody wants to talk about sex. And even in the church, we as a community have made sex very shameful. So, especially with women, when we are being pursued, men, first thing they do, they go ask everybody about you to make sure that you haven't been a woman who has slept around, right? Or if they don't know people like where you're from, they're going to ask, how many partners have you been with? Even if you are good in bed or you guys have good sexual chemistry together, most of the times the man that has good sexual chemistry with you will not marry you. He's going to marry the woman that he feels as though is very docile and close to virgin as possible. And still be unsatisfied with that woman, nothing against her, but sexually unsatisfied with her, and then still go cheat on her. So because we're not free and still not open because of sex in the Black community through generational things that's brought down through generations. Oh, I don't give oral sex, or I don't do this and I don't do that, and grandma say it's nasty. So then you get big and you get grown and you start having sex. Well, that's nasty. And then it just goes on, and the cycle keeps repeating itself on and on, based on parents not talking to their kids. They don't talk because it's just taboo. It's taught to us in church that, hey, you need to be perfect Patty. If I'm perfect Patty, everything's gonna be all right. Go ahead, Kim. Let me hear.
I want to say this though. How can they teach us when they're not discussing with their mates? Think about that. Grown people, we just go meet a dude at the club. He said we look good. He talked that good sweet stuff to us. We go home with him that night. We have sex. We ain't asked one question. We don't know if he got nothing. And we ain't asked not one question. So how can we teach our children if we don't even know how? Because you said it. It's taboo. Now, people today, they talk about it a little bit more, not in the way that it still ain't good and healthy. Because they talking about orgies and threesomes and, all that S&D and all this stuff, right? But at the end of the day, adults aren't doing it. And the older generation definitely wouldn't talk about sex. Mm-hmm. So how can we teach the parents so that they can teach their children?
Parents have to be open. I mean, for me, I have a 17, my daughter will be 13 in July. I have a 5 and a 2-year-old. So for me, their mama's, luckily for them, their mama is very free and very sexual and always have been. So it's easier for me to talk to them. But as parents, we have to take ourselves out the box. We make sex about us. If our kids want to have sex or they start going through puberty, oh, she being fast, he being mannish. They not being fast. They're not being sex. Sex is literally a human experience, right? So during our human experience, our bodies go through changes. So what's going through the changes with the children, all this is normal. They're going through puberty. So I believe stop making it be about us. Right. Stop making the embarrassment or the discussion be about how people are going to perceive you.
Right.
And not only that, come out of denial.
Right.
Say it again.
Come out of denial.
That's right.
I think your kids are not partaking in sexual activity or even talking about it. I did a sexual health event at a church.
Come on.
On World AIDS Day, and a 15-year-old girl walked up to me because the pastor allowed us to offer testing after the service was over. A 15-year-old girl walked up to me and said, "Do you have oral condoms? Because I give head all the time."
Mm-hmm.
Guarantee you.
And they don't believe it's sex.
And I've been at events where I've seen teens walking with their parents, and I'm like, "Hey, can we do an HIV test?" You're not doing that on my child. And I pull the parents to the side because let me tell you, one thing I do, I get real with them. Mm-hmm. Listen, daughter, let me tell you, she may not be talking about it around you or partaking in it around you, but when she's not or when he's not, it's happening. Mm-hmm. And so when you get real with them and make them see the reality of it, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna leave you with him, meaning me, and I'll be back to get her or him in a few minutes. So come out of denial.
I love love that. And you know, you asked about when we wait to talk about when those challenges come up. So I think of those unwanted, you know, pregnancies or an STI, and then it becomes a conversation, and we kind of like reflect back on those things that we could have done. And many of times it can start with a simple conversation. I love that piece of, you know, taking that shame and embarrassment off of you, because it's nothing shameful or embarrassing about that. And it's even, you know, messaging and language like that. Sex is not shameful. Sex is not bad. You know, we teach those things, and then kids are getting touched inappropriately and they can't say anything because it felt good, but you know, they told me that I shouldn't be engaging in these things. So they're not going to say, or less likely to say anything. Definitely just starting with that conversation and not waiting until it's too late, because a lot of this can be avoided by just talking.
I like what you said about it felt good. You tell your kids don't have sex, but you don't tell them why.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Knowing that sex feels good.
I'm gonna say because it ain't that don't feel good.
But they tell you it's bad. So
Yeah.
you say something like sex is bad, that's what you believe, that it's not good until they have it. And then they got this pleasure or this feeling that's like, I don't want to not ever have this again. And then what? Now you done lied. So you don't want me to do it, but I'm sneaking because not to. I will not let you know that I'm doing it. I'm sneaking do it.
I think as parents, we have to have a safe place for our children so that the world does not get to them and pervert the image of sex. Also a safe place. So if our children, and when they do, because it's not an if, it's when they do it, that they will be comfortable to not only allow you to and inform you that, hey, mom, dad, I'm sexually active, but you know, like I tell my son, hey, I don't care if you kill somebody. You need to be quiet. Come tell me first. You know, you have to make your children comfortable that, hey, this is my saving grace. I got to go to mama. I need to go to daddy. Not let me call my best friend and get advice from my best friend who may not be acknowledgeable and has as much knowledge as you on something that is so precious, such as sex. We don't tell them why. It's just don't do this and don't do that. We'll sit down and say why. Well, right now you're not mentally mature enough. You're not emotionally mature enough. Some adults, many adults, it ain't no some, too many adults are not mature enough to have sex that's detachment from sex. So you don't know who you may encounter. I tell my son, if you want to have sex, let me meet this person. You know, let me see if they have the best interest for you. Let me see what type of person they are. Just don't go off. You don't have to hide anything from me. Don't go off and just, you know, engage in sexual activity with this person. Let the person come so we can meet them. It's okay. It's okay that you would like to engage in sex. And then a lot of us lie. We hold our children to a standard that we didn't even have ourselves as children. Lord,
I'm
I had sex 15, 16.
Grandma got 17 kids.
Come on.
Okay.
She made out in the cornfield while she was cotton picking.
Yes.
You holding the kids to a standard that you didn't even have, and then you expect them to be holier than thou or a virgin to a certain age, or you know, what my grandma used to say, you get the feeling a little tingle down there, just ride a pillow. No. Yeah, but
Never heard that.
But instead of telling me what that feeling is.
Yeah. You know what? I also want to maybe even, and maybe it's just me, but I know that I've heard conversations and have even thought about the level of resentment that we can provoke in our children, because and one of our viewers said, you know, just like we tell them about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, you know, but see, those are fictitious characters that we introduce to them, right? And their feelings are hurt when they find out that these things are not real, that the tooth fairy is not real.
Right.
But imagine the impact because after years and years of hearing that sex is bad, sex is not what you want, sex is, you can wait, it's not, sex is horrible, it's dangerous, right? But you're not equipping young people with the why, and they finally have sex, and oh my goodness, what happens when it's a great experience?
It's an
And
explosion.
now, if this is not a 5-year-old who's responding to the lies of childhood, this is an adolescent, this is a teenager, this is a young adult who now says, well, dang, how much, what else did mama and daddy lie to me about?
That's right.
With my kids, I was a teenage mother. I had my first child at 15. I had my second one at 17. But with my kids, I tried to be open and honest, as much as I can. I remember sitting in church with my son, and I was like, boy, you been having sex? He like doing this, looking up like, and then we get out of church. Can we talk about this later? If we hadn't been in church, I would have lied. I was like, dude, he know what you saying, wherever you saying it at. He was like, well, yeah, I said, did you use a condom? So I tried my best I didn't want him to do it, but I at least allow me to guide you to safety when you do it, whenever that is. Now, do I want you to do it? No, but here's the deal. Having sex is like turning the water on. Once you turn that water on,
hard to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's flowing, baby. It ain't stopping. And when you get it ain't till you an adult and a mature adult and decide I don't want to have sex till I meet Mr. Right, or you know what I'm. Other than that, young people, they just doing it. Give me some. I'm about to get this because I got this tingling down here and I need to get it. He walks. And so now I'm having a little bulge. I need to go get this off me.
I want to go back to the idea, or we were talking about oral sex, and I think it may have been you, Lachresha, that talked about oral sex, and we have one of our viewers who said that a lot of young people are engaging in oral sex because they think it's safer and that they can't get pregnant. Just literally today, HIV education is something that all of us are very familiar with, and going into schools and having conversations with folks in church settings, in jails and prisons. And just today I was in a school, and I made the statement, that anything that you can get below your waist, you can also get in your mouth. Okay.
That's
right.
And
listen, you could hear a pin drop.
In your eyeball, they don't know that.
They don't know it, but it's true.
Right. So we have to be mindful about how we approach these subjects and be willing to be honest. Oh my goodness, that H word is so important. Not just honest, but be humble enough, right? We are not. Nobody. None of us have walked on water. Okay.
No.
Listen, can't swim, much less walk.
Being a dog paddler.
Okay, listen. So now, when is it appropriate?
Okay,
I'm so glad he made it off that bridge. Yeah, when is it appropriate? When do we start to talk to our young people about sex?
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lachresha.
I'll say when they start. They say you start puberty at 9, but if you catch them hunching, you need to. You catch them masturbating, you need to.
And rub and all that. Mm-hmm.
You need to immediately start talking to them when they start asking about their sex organs. You need to start talking to them.
So now you said, okay, so when they start asking about, because I've never been one. I know in raising my son, I've always used the science words, right? I'm not doing PP and TT and we all of that. Like, really?
And no.
What do you think about using the actual terms for our male and female genitalia, like penis and vagina? Is that appropriate? And at what age do you introduce those terms?
3 and 4, when they start potty training, 2, 3, and 4, that's your penis, this is your vagina.
Yep.
Don't use code words. That's how predators molest. What he said?
Not the
Not
tutu.
because it used to be a
No,
tutu when I was growing up.
in
They
his
used to call the
vagina.
girl, "You pop your tutu."
Mm-hmm.
But if you read studies though, they simply ask parents to, even when you're talking to your babies, to speak, not the gaga goo goo.
Right.
Speak to your
It's
baby.
hard though.
It is, because you feel so mushy inside. But guess what? That helps them mature. That helps them understand. That helps them to know what it is that you're talking about. It's almost like a dog. I'm not a dog lover. I don't care for them. Okay. But if you can talk to your dog in English, and you expect they know what you're talking about, why can't you talk to your baby and
Right.
say whatever, and then
Good
as
point,
they get
Kim.
older, they understand, huh?
That's a good point because if I ever hear anybody talking to their dog, talking about roo, 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 roo,
Right.
Ooh.
roo, roo, roo,
See, look at that.
roo, roo, roo.
Adrian, that's you. I know you on the call.
Listen, look, we have one of our viewers who says that the average age of
That's my
exposure to
cousin.
pornography. All right, come on, cuz. Says
Come on,
that the
cousin.
average age of exposure to porn is 10. It's irresponsible to believe that children won't know anything just because we haven't talked to them. Other children will give them information.
Yes, they will.
And if
So
it's
I
no other children, sorry, um, we have the internet, we have, so much. And,
Yes.
having an 11-year-old asking what types of things can I do to support you in using this phone? He was like, well, can you delete Google? And for him to say that at 11,
Wow.
Google is where they're able to get their hands on so much, regardless of the restrictions you have on the device, regardless of whatever. So they're learning sex, and they're learning it in an unhealthy way. Things that are
yeah.
not realistic, things that are, produced, and is things are looking so perfect, like it's not that. So I believe definitely in starting the conversations early. I love how we talked about that language early on, teaching what those body parts are. I said in the classroom about 3 years ago in a room full of grown women, and we couldn't even name all of the parts of our anatomy. The insides, the outsides, not knowing that the whole thing wasn't called the vagina. Like, we didn't know that.
Mhm.
And this is after having a baby and a marriage and all of this. So definitely starting there. I say start before you even think that they're questioning it. So maybe not going into detail, but they're thinking about it. By the time they've come to you to ask a question, they have thought, they have sought answers from somewhere else as well. There might be not too late, because we can always have a conversation, but you may have been able to be a little more proactive.
And I don't know why we don't even give them the information when we give them the tools for exposure anyway, because we're not handing them dolls and teddy bears and trucks anymore. We're handing them iPads and cell phones.
Come
And
on.
so
Mhm.
they're creating TikTok accounts where they're men in gray sweatpants and women in thongs. They're creating
Mhm.
Facebook accounts. They're creating Snapchat
Instagram.
and Instagrams. So they got the tools to get whatever they need, because ain't nobody filtering nothing no more. And especially now my stuff, baby, my Snapchat, you don't need,
Ah!
you don't need a tape.
Oh,
Anything you need to see is on the
Oh my
Snapchat.
goodness.
And so these kids have exposure to that stuff.
right.
You're not putting locks on it. Filtering out matter of fact, I don't even think there's an age limit on stuff that they could see, like, block out.
They lie
Uh,
anyway.
right. You're
Right.
lying about your age
Now,
anyway. So why not go ahead and have the conversation when you're giving them the tools to even see what they need to see? Again, if you don't teach them, that tablet, iPad, computer, cell phone will.
Yeah, we have one of our viewers who's saying that it's important to speak and build a relationship and conversation once they begin to comprehend. Parents underestimate the comprehension levels. Absolutely, sir. And because most parents operate off of learned behavior, which is exactly what Lachresha talked about earlier, they choose to wait, but they miss the opportunity to build a relationship. And once the child becomes sexually active, they feel like the parents are invasive when asking the questions.
Right.
On point, Mr. Cheney.
Defensive. That's Zeke.
Yep. Yep. On point. So now, because all of us are HIV educators, and we talk about sexual wellness with audiences all the time. So what has been the most common questions you've been asked around HIV or STIs or sexual wellness?
That they always think that it's just a gay disease.
Okay.
They
It's
don't
not
think
really a question that they ask. They make statements.
Right.
Okay.
It's the statements that they make. Like, I wore a shirt that said something about me being an HIV advocate, and I was at Walmart, and the girl was like, "Oh, you got it."
And that you took that out of my mouth. They always think that just because you advocate for HIV that you have to be positive, and that's just, it's so ignorant.
Yeah.
And then I was at another store in the mall in Montgomery, and the girl asked me, she was like, "What you do?" And I told her, I worked in the HIV field. She said, "You ain't scared?" I said, "No, girl, you scared."
It's funny that you said that. Today at Alabama State, a young lady, I really got on to her because she was being very judgmental. And I said, I said, I know you're in the church or whatever, but you have to meet people where they at. And I said, you don't know why or how people get HIV. I said, it's not just what you think. And I said, I told her that she was judgmental, and then I was like, God can't use none of that stuff you talking about because you nasty. You're nasty to people. And I said, you judging them. And I was telling her that in meeting people where they are, you don't know how people get it. You don't have to be some promiscuous person. I said, it just takes two people.
Ignorance.
Yeah, it's ignorance.
I said, no matter how you get it.
I told her it could be two people. I said, you could be in a
ever had sex, she definitely could have caught it.
And that's what I told her. I told her that in this situation, I said, you could be in a monogamous relationship. I said, you could be married. I said, you could be a virgin. You still could. I said, if you are sexually active, you are at risk. It does not matter the situation. Right. So, she went on about her business.
So now, Lachresha, I do want to because you mentioned that this was in a church setting. And so oftentimes, or that we run into folks who are in the church and literally don't even want to bring up the topic of HIV or the topics of HIV or sex or sexual wellness. It's like, if you say, it's like, please say you saying sectarian or something, because sex, if it's one more letter to that word, don't say it in here. Y'all, what role should the church be playing in our sexual wellness? How should the church even play a role in that?
Yeah, because they're Christian that 15-year-old baby.
Okay.
Come on now.
So they're Christian, the children. They talk about it. They talk about it until they favorite soprano then got pregnant in high school. And now they're Christian her child.
And then they'll sneak and give her a baby shower gift. I ain't giving a baby shower, but I'm gonna give the baby a gift.
A diaper drive-by.
Come on.
Why can't we talk about it?
I think that sex should be communicable. Anything I can get in the world, I need to be able to get from my church. Yeah. So yes, we need to talk about sex in the church.
You know what? And anybody who says otherwise, I really wanted to just kind of get a feel, or let the audience get a feel for where we all stand on this. So these are questions that we are going through with each other, but to benefit the audience, right? Because so many times we run into people in especially in the church, and especially in the Black church, where we don't want to share information about things that are happening. But anybody who says that you shouldn't talk about sex in the church clearly has not read the book Song of Solomon. The entire book is a love letter.
A love letter.
It is a really raunchy love letter. If you really
let me let you in on a secret. God made sex.
He did.
And everything God made was good.
Yes.
Come on, somebody.
Come on, you better come on.
I ain't come to preach, but I will.
All right. There we go. Look, but you know what? It's not what we do, it's how we do it. Right? We don't have to have raunchy conversations, but we definitely need to have the conversations. And what better place, like Lachresha saying, What better place than the church? There
you
need
know,
to be a T-shirt. Anything I can get out there, I should be able to get in here.
but you know, a lot of people, I like that you said Songs of Solomon. A lot of people don't even go into that book and preach on that. That's what he's talking about. Don't open up love until it pleases. I mean, don't open up that I mean, that's scripture. It's telling you don't do it.
Right.
Until it pleases. Even when the people, you know, a lot of folks tell me something, well, it's rather married than to burn. When folks think that they talking about burning hell, he ain't talking about that. It's rather be married than to be around here horny. That's what the burning is, the horniness. You know, the ignorance, the not reading the word for yourself, the ignorance. Baby, I can go into so many scriptures that ain't nothing new under the sun, whether gay, lesbian, hetero, bi, whatever you got going on, there's nothing new under the sun. Right. I love to tell people that we were born in iniquity and sin. So why all the judging when it's in the bloodline? Some stuff is inevitable. You're going to do it regardless, whether you want to or you don't want to. It's in the bloodline. It's got to happen to you. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
You need
So,
to put
according to the Bible, there's no big sin or little sin. You
not now.
You steal, you cheat, I fornicate, he commit adultery, and Monte is being a hoe. We all going to hell if we don't repent. You know, that's just how that go. We all going to hell if we don't.
Y'all need to put a ha behind what you're talking about.
Lord have mercy. But look, so now if the church plays a role, now what role should schools play? Because I know here in the state of Alabama, while the laws have loosened some, we across the South deal with higher levels of HIV. So to our viewers, if you are not aware, 51% of all new cases of HIV are among African Americans. More than 50% are found in the Deep South, which is Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida. So wanting to know what role should schools play in educating our young people about HIV, as other STIs, and sexual wellness?
I think whoever took sex education out of the school need to be beat down, stomped, and whoever allowed it and approved it.
Yeah.
Because guess what? They still doing it. And they taking it out ain't did a thing.
Yeah.
I agree.
Ain't did nothing.
And that's where, listen, they ain't having sex at home. They ain't having sex at the church.
They having sex at school. That's what I was doing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
This is what I did.
I was having it.
And it's true.
I was too busy at the school in the science club and band and dance class to have it, but that's what they having it at.
It happens because, and I know that it happens across the Black Belt, because when we go into schools, that oftentimes is a request at the request of an administrator who has found condoms or actually found students who are engaging in some sort of sex act. And that means that there's some place, they're finding places at school. So why not equip them with the information they need to be safe? Telling young people what to do to be safe in the event they engage in sexual encounters is not telling them or giving them the okay to have sex. I've heard that argument so many times.
But it still go back to the parents, because that's what, even the few times that I have been invited to a school to speak, they have to get the parents to sign off on it, that their child can be in that auditorium listening to me, because I simply say, I can't talk about HIV if I don't talk about sex. What I'm gonna do? What I'm doing? What I'm saying? And they want you to maneuver. The point is, it's still, and there, believe it or not, there were some parents who did not want their children in that auditorium because they didn't want them to get that education, because they didn't want them to feel like that was giving them the okay to have sex. I was like, I guarantee every one of them who ain't here, they somewhere having sex.
I had a student at Job Corps was asking me for condoms, but was telling his mama I was in the classroom talking about inappropriate stuff. His mama told the administration that she didn't want him in the class. I hit him with that knee.
Guys, you stupid.
Crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to use
I literally though want to encourage if we have any teachers or administrators online watching, or if you, a viewer, if you're watching this and you know that your administrator, a teacher in your building needs to hear this, y'all, it's important that we incorporate all types of education, right? If your pastor needs to hear this, right, tag and share this video, because what we're doing is having a very real conversation about the impact that not giving young people the right information at the right point in their lives, it can cost them,
the
right?
life.
Whether it's HIV, it could cost them the cost of being a teen parent. Kim talked about giving birth as a teenager. There are when we know the impact that that can have, because all teenagers don't have the support system, the network to catch them, right? And now you're talking about creating generational poverty. The intersectionality is real, y'all. And
Right.
so if you know an administrator who needs to hear this, please feel free. A pastor, a deacon, okay, a mother of the church, please tag and share this information.
So,
And Lydia,
go
ahead,
on,
Ken.
go on. Oh, I just wanted to say this though. It not really in defense, but kind of, sort of. I've really spoken at a lot of churches. Most of those churches are the larger churches. Like my pastor is cool with it. Like, hey, the morning of World AIDS Day, hey, I need you to get up there and talk about 2-3 minutes. Just talk about it. You know what? However long you need, just get up there and talk about it because it's World AIDS Day. Yada yada yada. I'm like, dude, you ain't say nothing. Yeah, but you can do it. You good. Get up there and do what you do. And when I get up there, he like, breathe. I'm like, I'm breathing. But why you wait till this morning? But the point is, I have spoken at a lot of churches, but the little bitty small churches, having it.
And I was just gonna add, not only to educate to prevent, but educate, just be educated, because whether we know it or not, we all are surrounded by people who are HIV positive.
This is true.
And so when that comes out, we need to be educated. So we won't be like, you know what I'm saying? And then there's something else I was gonna say according to the church, but it didn't slip my mind to come back to me. But we need to, we definitely need to educate, not only to prevent, but just to be educated and aware. Because this is what I was gonna say. HIV is not a death sentence.
Yes.
Doctors will tell you that they'd rather have HIV than to have sugar
cancer.
than cancer. And it's not a secret with the hosts that are on our show. My girl Cece is a beautiful girl, mother of 2. She just had a baby and she's breastfeeding and all that stuff. And Kim, baby, my girl, and I can say this about Kim, got an ass like Beyonce, and they ain't walking around here with the picture that most people carry in their minds of people that are living with HIV.
Right.
They're living healthy lives. And the only reason why, y'all, I'm saying this about my 2 girls is because it's not a secret. They've already, if y'all have joined the show before, y'all have heard their stories. Cece's been a guest on here, and Kim is a host, and she shared a story. So that's the only reason why I'm talking about them. We do not share other people's statuses. So I just wanted to make that.
But you can tell my story.
Yeah, I know. I know. I won't talk about that. I'll let you tell your story, but I'm just saying this for this purpose. Like, we need to educate. HIV. This is what HIV looks like. Beautiful people.
Yeah, because you know what's so sad though? So many people still believe 1985, 86, 88. And that is, it's a myth. It's not true today. You ain't looking at somebody with their eyes popping out their head and they done lost so much weight, but they belly out here. That ain't what's happening. That's why most of the time when I go speak, if it depends on the type of program. If it's speaking to a lot of HIV positive people, then quite naturally I'm okay with them sharing that I'm HIV positive. But if I'm going to speak to people who don't know, I love for them to just Monte, I done did it plenty of times. Yeah. Give that basic old grandmama, mama, all that old food, that stuff. And then when I walk in that room, I start talking. And I start, first of all, I'm gonna put Becky on and I'm gonna talk, depending on where you at. Now, if I'm in,
she said Becky.
Yeah.
If I'm with the colors, then I'm gonna talk like I'm talking right now. But if I'm with, them, I'm gonna go talk. I'm gonna put Becky on and I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna talk like I got some sense. And then I will never forget. I was in Boston. Governors, researchers, all of them. And I felt bad. In fact, I called my pastor because I was the only Black person in the room.
Wow.
And I said,
wow.
You really don't want to go in here? I'm texting my pastor, Jamal Bryan. I said, I really don't want to go in here because I am the only Black person in the room. This fool said, girl, shut up and go on in there. They don't know it till you open your mouth. I just
Jamal is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot all about my didn't want to be there. And I went in there, and then I was the last person on the goddamn list for the day.
Wow.
They really do like a dog.
Kim presents that HIV education, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's $1 million in the envelope. Because when she got through talking, I started to say, baby, hand it here.
You stupid. But this was crazy. By the time I finished, the room crying. They ended up giving me a standing ovation. One man, I left. When I finished, because my sister lived in Boston, she came, but she was late. She got there. And so when I finished, I walked out the door because it was at a hotel that I was staying in. And I went to my room, and the person that did the conference was like, where are you, Miss Moon? You have a line of people wanting to talk to you, wanting to speak to you, wanting to take a picture with you. And this one white dude, he said, I work in a lab. And I just got married. I never asked my wife. We never got tested.
That's great.
Then he said, as I'm listening to you talk, I snapped a picture of you and I sent it to her. And I said, we need to go get tested. She like, are you trying to tell me something? He like, no. That's when he took the picture of me and sent it to her. Said, this lady right here, HIV positive. We ain't thought about that because I went on and told him, like, look, you ain't just sleeping with me. And I ain't just sleeping with you. I'm sleeping with everybody you done slept with, and everybody you done slept with, and vice versa. You don't know what they got. I don't know what they got. We need to get tested. We need to have a conversation. We need to know what's happening.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
So now, what resources? I just quickly, because I know that we have a whole lot of fun. And we're having a very real conversation. But for the viewers who may not be aware of resources that they may be close to or resources that may exist, how do we plug folks in, or what resources are available for parents who still may question how or when or what to say to the young people in their households or other young people that they know? How do we connect folks with the right resources?
Well, for one, when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, Google it. So that's your first resource.
That's it.
Google it. We don't want to Google stuff that pertains to our health and that'll benefit us. We want to call and ask somebody else, but when it comes to some mess, we'll Google that.
Right.
So that's your first resource. The second resource, you have us.
Yes.
You don't know how to talk to them? Call us. I tell people all the time, invite me to your house. I don't mind coming over there. Just have me some
know
food
what I've been saying? Hey, y'all
take
this picture. Take this picture of me and take it home and talk to your husband, your children, your sisters. I'm standing up there posing. I'm doing whatever. If you don't know how to strike up this conversation, do just what that white dude did in Boston.
Kim told him, she said, you're going to take a picture of me anyway, so let me pose.
I know that's right.
Let's do this.
Listen, I do want to share Selma Ayers' information. Monte, you are absolutely right. We are individually and collectively a resource. So if we need to put this together as a Zoom in a private room with the young people at your church or the young people at your community center so that they can ask questions, this group can assemble again, right? Selma Air, if you are anywhere in West Central Alabama, we literally do this every single day. If you're having problems or you don't know what to say, just like Monte said, Google it. You Google everything else. Jobs in Milwaukee. Okay. Talking to my teen about HIV. That's right. It works. The Google machine works. I promise. But listen, yes, she does. But if you don't feel comfortable using those resources, or you don't quite know which resources to trust, call Selma Air. We're available for free testing. You can call us at 334-418-5055. That's our wellness center. We will be glad to come to your home. Just like Monte said, we will come to your home. We will come to your church. We will come to whatever location you give us. You can come to us. We will host a special event for the young people in your life, for your family, honey. Listen, family reunion season is about to come up. You about to get married and have a bridal a bachelorette party. Incorporate some HIV information up in there before we go see the menses with the little bitty drawers on and the gray sweatpants and whatnot. Okay, let's talk about this thing, or get gift bags. Call us. We'll put the information in the bag. Right, with condoms, we can customize this thing. What we telling you?
Condom demonstration, whatever you need. We'll
yes.
Just because it's educational, don't mean it ain't fun. Just because HIV is stigmatized like it is, and we think it's serious, but it ain't a death sentence. But as serious, as this some of this stuff may sound, we will make the best time out of it and make the learning fun. I know these folks, I know me, I know my mouth, and I get down to the people level. You know what I'm saying? I don't know a whole bunch of good words. I'm just but I meet you where you're at. Right. You know?
Okay. Yes.
I want to throw my resource out, the Well Project again. So thewellproject.org is a woman who has been living with HIV for 13, almost 14 years now. This has been one of the most valuable resources I've ever come across. I just posted something today from the organization, fact sheet on talking to your teens about having sex. So this was like right on time. We have fact sheets, over like 150 of them, I believe, on almost any topic that you can think of. So if you're having some struggles, some issues, challenges, please visit. One of our fact sheets is bound to help. I've even disclosed sometimes like that, like passing off some literature, because it isn't always the most comfortable conversation to have. So there are things out there. I will advocate for Google too. Just don't try to diagnose yourself that way.
Please don't.
And don't be scared. Don't be scared to get tested. Don't be scared of the results. Like Monte said, it's not a death sentence. Like I told the girl today that I had to get on to that, I'd rather have HIV than have cancer. So, y'all don't be scared. Go get tested so you don't spread it. And then if you have it, you can be undetectable. You can get to that place, but you're still not spread it to somebody else. And y'all don't leave y'all children out there. Don't say, "Oh, it's God's punishment." No, it's not. God, that ain't. I don't know what God y'all serving there, but that ain't who we serve. That ain't got nothing to do with God. God is not about that. So if the church folks hearing this, that ain't God. God wants us to have life and live it more abundantly. So if we can get on top of something that He's made, which is sex, then guess what? If we can get on top of it and prevent certain things and for our children, so they'll be safe and won't have to suffer the things that we've already suffered.
And everything He made was what?
Good. Because
y'all
very good.
Very good.
Wow.
Listen,
I told y'all to put that hot behind them.
Yes.
We got to get you out of here, okay?
She got it in on you, baby.
I love
Y'all, it is important for us, and we did have one of our viewers point to the fact that Black people, and it's so important that we put these numbers in perspective.
Right.
Black people make up 13% of the United States population, but we make up over 50% of new HIV infections. And y'all, still we have churches that are talking only about abstinence. I have you know that Black women are among some of the highest and fastest growing number of new diagnoses. That is why programs like She's Ready, which is where Queen Bee is housed at Selma Air. That's why programs like She Looks Like Me, which is based in Montgomery with the St. Paul AME Church. Y'all, it is important that Black women understand our role in keeping ourselves and our sisters well. Because if we don't make sure that we look out for our own health, And y'all know that, yeah, the man may be the head of the household, but we are the neck. So wherever the neck turns that head, okay? So if we want our men to be healthy, we have to also be healthy and have access to those resources. So just quickly, shameless plug. Listen, if you are 25 to 50 years of age and you live in the state of Alabama, you are interested in owning your wellness and helping other Black women be well, call us. Selma Air, she's ready. We are ready to serve you. 334-418-5055. We have Positively Beautiful. Kim Moon is the founder of Positively Beautiful. We have the Well Project, thewellproject.org. We have Well Women Recover. All of these organizations are represented right before you. We are all resources telling you,
Heather
imploring.
which heatherivy.org, which is a women's group that is formed by infectious disease
Okay.
Dr. Cook, Tim's Cook. And then Freda Jones has a Facebook group called Lotus, which is also for women,
Yes.
HIV
Yes.
positive women.
Yes. And so I do want to respond, y'all. We have one, but before we get out of here, we had one more question. We had someone ask us, and Chanel, and I know that she's asking this just to make sure that we cover
Don't
this
be
in our
coming on here like
conversation.
you don't know.
Right. Like she already knows. Listen, like
Make sure
but
somebody else know. Don't do that.
right.
I know.
Exactly. That's what she wants to make sure that we cover this information. How soon after an encounter? So, how soon after a sexual encounter should we be tested? And so, what is the answer to the question you said?
She
How
wrote it
soon
on.
after?
Masonia wrote it on there.
Okay. Now she said 48 to 72 hours if you believe you've been exposed.
She better
Now,
go. That PEP.
right. I
That-
would say that 48 to 72 hours would be for PEP. But but HIV
it
exposure,
won't
you would
show up for 3
it's
weeks.
not gonna show up.
3 months.
Wait, can you say what PEP is versus PrEP? I don't know if a lot of people know.
Yes,
Right.
PEP is. You are absolutely right. We are in the field, so we know. But PEP
Yeah.
is post-exposure prophylaxis. Those are the pills that are given. Typically, you will see if you are a fan of Law and Order SVU,
Yeah.
Special
SVU.
Victims Unit, yeah, SVU. They deal with sexual assault cases. Typically, when you see the doctors giving medication to the women who have been sexually assaulted or the people who've been sexually assaulted, because men can be sexually assaulted too,
Right.
then they are giving PEP as a part of the medical regimen for that. So doctors take it if they or nurses if in as an occupational hazard they've been exposed to a needle that was used on someone and they accidentally pricked themselves. So it's a common process to issue PEP. So post-exposure prophylaxis, and PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis.
But can I throw just one little plug in?
Absolutely.
So most of you know that I was raped when I contracted HIV. I went to the doctor the night of the rape, and they did all the little stuff, and they did not offer me PEP. Now, yes, it was a long time ago, so maybe it was out, but I didn't know anything about it because I didn't have knowledge of HIV. So if they don't offer, you ask.
Right.
Ask. I just had to say that because I know I was not. And because I was not educated on HIV, I had no idea. So ask if they don't offer.
Kim, I always think of your story when we're talking about PEP. Like, your story has stuck with me so long. So I think of PrEP as like the birth control for HIV. So you take this one pill every day, and just in case you come across HIV, it can't wreak havoc. And then I think of PEP as like the morning after pill.
Right.
So
that's
in
the way
case
I described it. Morning after, wait a minute, the plan B. Yeah,
Plan B doesn't always work, but PEP is proven to work.
But I'm talking about the scenarios as far as what it's supposed to do.
I'm sitting here with my plan B baby right here. But so
Plan B.
yes, Pep. I think that they are great tools to put in our toolbox, and just as you didn't know about it so long ago, and there are still people today that don't know. And, being an online advocate, I come across people from everywhere, and trying to help this girl in Georgia one time get access to Pep was one of the hardest things I have experienced. The people being out in the rural communities who aren't, as close to Atlanta as maybe they want them to be. It can be extremely hard, but there are still resources out there that can help you as well. And if you need more information, you can reach out to any of us. I'm willing as well.
Right.
Absolutely. So we have had an hour well spent. Y'all, we want to thank everyone who has tuned in to this month's episode. We are super excited that so many people have tuned in. Y'all, please like, tag, and share. As we get out of here, the show is entitled Queen Bee. Want to just quickly ask you if you could say anything to a woman who is watching this show and you want to say Queen Bee something, fill in the blank. Queen Bee what? Let's leave the folks with some inspiration.
Queen, be sure of yourself.
All right.
Be assertive. Be your biggest advocate.
Me, I'm just gonna say, Queen, be educated.
You took mine, Kim.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, boo.
Go ahead, Lydia.
Guys think alike.
Oh, Lord. So I would have to say, Queen, be transparent with your children.
That's right.
Sure.
As transparent as you can according to their age. Be transparent. Don't allow your children to see you as a liar or to see what you are presenting as some sort of facade. You may have met your mate using the representative, but our children don't deserve a representative. They deserve the real you. So, Queen, be transparent.
Queen, live in reality.
For sure.
Stop thinking it ain't happening.
That's right.
For sure.
All right.
So,
Well, y'all, this has been a wonderful hour. An hour well spent. I am putting these affirmations in the chat. So that's what was taking me a second. So we want to encourage you to, Queen, be educated. Be sure of yourself. Be your own best advocate. Y'all, queens, live in reality. We want to thank you for tuning in to April's broadcast of Queen Bee. As always, we broadcast every third Tuesday. We are your Taco Tuesday prelude, if you will. Okay.
And Monte normally have a drink, but today.
Yes.
I don't have it yet. It's the yet for me.
See, it's the yet.
It's the yet for you.
But we want to thank you all for tuning in. And until next month, y'all, Queen, let's do it. It's time to be educated. It's time to live in reality.
Sure.
See y'all next month.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Take care. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.